Hi there, it's Pamela Naturals and I am back with another video. Today I would like to talk to you about single strand knots. Let's start with defining what a single strand knot is. What is a single strand knot? Well, a single strand knot is simply a knot formed by one strand of your hair. So your hair, just one strand of your hair coils around itself and causes a knot. Why is this a problem? Generally speaking, single strand knots are a common thing with natural ladies, especially people with kinkier textures. So they don't directly have an effect on your natural hair health or regimen, but with time they can become frustrating and can make natural hair care a little bit difficult. So some naturals find this a problem, myself included. What can you do about single strand knots? Well, first of all, you can choose to snip them off with the scissors. I do this often because sometimes there's so many that I just can't handle my hair properly, so I choose to cut them. Another thing you can do is unravel them if you've got time. Otherwise, you can just leave them alone if they're not such of a problem for you. So in this video, I just want to address more of the prevention side of single strand knots. So not so much what you do with them, but how you can prevent them from developing or from happening in the first place. So if you are interested in finding out my top 10 tips on how to prevent single strand knots, then keep watching. The number one tip is that you want to avoid or minimize your wash and goes or curly styles. And I know this is a bit controversial because our hair is curly anyway, but the simple fact that our hair is curly or coily predisposes us to the single strand knots. So minimize your wash and goes, because the curlier your hair is, the more prone it is to coil around itself, causing single strand knots. Number two is to get into the habit of sealing your hair with a butter or an oil. And this is very important because an oil or a butter will assist your hair to slide against each other, your hair strands to slide against each other smoothly and, reduce the friction, and therefore it will be more difficult for your hair to knot up because it's slippery. Number three, stretching your hair. This I have found to be very effective with preventing single strand knots. Stretching my hair, and particularly the ends of my hair, because the ends are normally the section of the hair that knots up. So you want to get into the habit of doing styles that stretch your hair out. Braids and twists are great, but I personally use my African threading to stretch my hair in general, and especially the ends of it, and this helps me prevent single strand knots to some extent. Okay, washing your hair in sections. This just makes it easier for you to deal with your hair, number one. But number two, it avoids, or rather prevents, the kerfuffle that happens with, just washing your hair as a whole, especially if you've got kinky hair. If you wash your hair in sections, you've got more control of the particular sections of your hair, and therefore you can be able to stretch it and twist it as you go, and therefore prevent single strand knots, rather than just going in there and just washing your hair, creating such a mess while you wash your hair. Another point is that you probably want to prevent, or rather stay away from moisture stripping or oil stripping shampoos. So your sulfate shampoos are great for a cleanse once in a while, but on a regular basis they can be really drying and can actually promote dryness, which will then lead to single strand knots. So do more of your wash and goes rather than shampooing your hair. You may have guessed this already, moisture. Moisture is super important when it comes to preventing single strand knots. Dry, brittle hair is not going to help you prevent the single strand knots, because your hair is just, rubbing against itself in that dry state, as opposed to when it's lovely and moisturized, and sealed with good oils. Moisture really allows your hair to be supple, and it gives it some support and protection when it comes to manipulation, styling, and just, environmental factors like heat, wind, and the cold. So moisturizing your hair is really important if you want to prevent single strand knots. Low manipulation styles or protective styling. If you style your hair for the week, for instance, and just moisturize and seal your hair without really manual handling it too much, that is going to greatly prevent single strand knots because you're just leaving your hair alone. Another great tip that I've found is oil rinsing. Now this is a luxury for many people, myself included. I don't do this very often, but every time I do it, I find that my hair benefits from it. What that does is it creates a lot of slip in your hair, which again allows your strands to just, slide against each other without much friction, which is great in preventing single strand knots. Another tip is that a satin scarf or satin bonnet will really help you prevent the single strand knots from happening. When you go to bed, you're tossing and turning, and if you're sleeping on a cotton pillowcase, that's going to really increase the chances of you having single strand knots. So wear a satin bonnet to bed so you can keep your hair in one place and prevent single strand knots and dryness really in general from happening. Another great tip is that learn to smooth your hair. So when I say smooth, I just mean don't be in a rush to just place product on your hair and twist it up or style it up. Smooth your hair down and stretch it while you do that. And this will allow your ends to not remain in their coily state per se, but really have a stretched look at the end of that smoothing down. And that really takes patience, and it will allow the products and the oils and whatever you're using to really get into the hair for a great effect on your hair. So get into the habit of smoothing your hair, especially at the ends, so you can prevent single strand knots. And lastly, I just want to talk about leaving your hair alone. A lot of the times, especially when you're wearing a twist out or a braid out, a curly style, it's very tempting to just get in there and touch your hair and play with your curls. It's fun, but it does promote dryness and it does promote tangles and single strands. So single strand knots. So stay away from touching your hair. Just leave it alone, basically. I hope this was helpful. I hope you can put these into practice, and let me know if this is helpful or if you have any other tips that you would like to share that you've seen to be beneficial for your hair in preventing single strand knots. Please subscribe for more videos and for more tips on how to take care of your natural hair. Until next time, it's Mama Naturals. See you in the next video.